It's January 28th, 2022. Just curious. I'm watching Channel 2 News at 12. I taped it. And I watched it all the way through. And then I went back. There is something I didn't really want to mention because I'm not part of NYPD. I'm not part of their brotherhood. I mean, like, I don't know how they look at me. But they lost not one but two of their officers, and I am stuck on a I'm stuck between I entered a crime scene. I know who the participants are. I know people die everywhere every day. If I say something, am I honoring one fallen member when there are other fallen members elsewhere that have sacrificed their lives in trying to defend and fix what is wrong in New York City, while this area of fallen member was just maintaining and holding back the criminals, and all of the problems, because there's two different law enforcements. There's the one that's in the heart of the problem, trying to stay alive, and then there's those that are outside, who we hope are trying to get to us and remove the problems. So with that being said, they made a mention of the fallen, at the fallen officer's funeral. The new NYPD commissioner that was appointed by Mayor Adams says something very interesting. Again, I'm not invited to the funeral. I don't have a uniform, that kind of thing. Just the canceled part of the culture, or the forgotten about. And I'm not their pledge. I'm not their anything. So watching this and her mention, she says New York City has always been known as the City of Lights. Really? Is that what your people on the inside say? Because this X-ray technology, while I've been blocked from the marriage that I was destined for, while you held me here against my will and performed hideous acts of domestic violence against my person, I'm just curious. Is that the excuse that they're using? Because experimentation on humans is outlawed. And if they knew City of Lights, being looks like X-ray technology. In fact, I put my hand up earlier, and you could see almost like a ghost image straight through my hand on camera. But this is the criminality in action and in motion in New York City. Although I know they don't see themselves that way, but...
From those in service to those retired, here for their brother in blue.
The job itself is very painstaking. Every day, you never know what's going to happen to you. So I think that's what brings us together, the ties that bond us.
Rivera was described.
You never know what criminal plot, evil children from everywhere and elsewhere that are out of control, what they're going to start up next. That is a problem. But it seems like a growing identity crisis problem. Between the decade of Century 19, Decade 7, then Decade 8, Decade 9, Decade into the 2000s, where it switched to a different century, it seems to be an expanding identity problem with new communities springing up with all new cultural nuances that then have to be addressed or learned of some sort. So this way you learn how they interact off of one another. But I don't understand why this level is allowed. Is this part of the UN problem? of like the woman on the UN commercial. They were having a private meeting I wasn't invited to, even though I'm one of the founding children and I'm in the 13 colonies. So I wasn't invited to this UN meeting I addressed earlier, but yet she said that she would take it upon herself to go to other countrymen to drum up assistance financially and in partnership. That sounds like that might be in direct violation of safety and procedural for not only NYPD, but for myself as well. I don't understand why these things are allowed to go on.
It's what we all want in an officer, posthumously promoted to detective first grade.
This has always been a city of lights. And police officer Jason Rivera was one of its brightest.
Who in life and in death will...
Now that's interesting because we have X-ray technology over the last few decades. Her opportunity to get into this position has overlooked or closed a blind eye to while it was being enhanced and actually installed. I don't find that honor should be bestowed upon such people. I don't care what they dress as.
will continue to protect the city.
There's a word in the vernacular called meddling. I feel they've been meddling themselves with honor in the most dishonorable actions and in motion.
City.
We will ensure everything within our powers to not lose our family members through this senseless violence.
In peace, we take our brother Jason to his place of rest.
It was an incredibly moving
Christian
and
nation.
emotional service, and the police commissioner made a promise the NYPD will proudly carry on his extraordinary legacy. We're live outside St. Patrick's Cathedral. Jenna DeAngelis, CBS 2 News.
Jenna, thank you. In her emotional eulogy, Detective Rivera's widow also alluded to the gun violence issue in the city and called out the new Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who's been...
I don't know this Alvin Bragg. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know who hired him. I don't know what part in the criminality he's a part of. But I will say I'm going to allow her to speak, and I will mention it because some of these things should have never happened, but some of these entries should have been stopped before X-ray advancements, just for commencements, actually transpired and took place. In this derogatorous system that was supposed to be founding fathers and built clearly, precisely, and up, and instead has some weird deterioration and alternate agenda being spoken of instead of the real whatever that it was originally intended for.
who's been criticized for changing what crimes his office will prosecute.
The system continues to fail us. We are not safe anymore.
Right.
Not even the members of the service. I know you were tired of these laws, especially the ones from the new DA. I hope he's watching you speak through me right now.
Don't know what laws she's speaking of. They have their own secret society that makes these things up or is told these things as the system breaks more and more in their favor, and then now it looks the way that it does over the several decades, with the incorrect installation being perpetuated forward and then putting on in some book fashion to reference back to, but I don't know on whose authority. I mean, who is actually in charge at this position within the branch of the 13 colonies? They don't even explain who our definitive character is for Mount Rushmore level security in the state of New York. That person is unbeknownst to the public. So it's kind of hard to address that level of importance when there's so much criminality going on with false narrative. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. And it is Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.